Increasingly, we're hearing about the use of AI in general practice. Well, in this episode, I'm going to show you a tool that, frankly, is going to boggle your mind at how amazing it can help you in practice and is provided by free by one of our colleagues. You definitely want to see this as we tech enhance your primary care and learning. Hello, EGP learners. Welcome to this episode where I'm again joined by ANKIT AI. How are you doing there, ANKIT?
I'm doing really well, thank you. Pleased to be here. Thank you.
Definitely. And I'm really keen to show you guys basically ANKIT AI. So it's not the fake version of ANKIT, but it's definitely that he's created an absolute flowers to you in terms of what this can do. And I think the EGP learner is going to be absolutely gobsmacked to see how much help this could be for those GPs, practice managers, basically anybody working general practice. Do you want to tell us a bit more about it?
Yeah, so it's a website where anybody can go. You don't need to click on any logins or pay any money, and it's a chatbot. And essentially, you ask it any of the GP questions that you might have. For example, well, I'm sure we'll get into examples, but a couple of things is: should I be doing this request by the hospital? Do I need to write a policy about something? I need to do a leaflet for a patient. How can I do one? And it tries to kind of assimilate all the key points and give you an answer within 2 or 3 seconds.
Yeah, so if people want to check it out and go through this as we're doing so, you can do so. It's ankitcamp.com. So you can definitely do that. And if you want the direct hyperlink to that, that will be in the comments down below if you're watching us on YouTube. Alternately, whichever platform you're on, absolutely you can get to it from there. So shall we have a little look at it, Ankit?
Excellent. So yeah, ankitcamp.com. All you need to do is click on the start button. So yeah, let's start by just firing a question at it. Would you like to start, or shall I just throw one in there?
Just go for it.
So if I just put something, a hospital consultant has asked me to do bloods for their specialist clinic. Should I? That's a nice, easy one to start with. And what it does is it knows all the BMA guidance, NHS England guidance, standard contracts, all the information that you may be getting from your LMC, and it gives you a framework to kind of say, well, should you? And here we are. So we have to look through the appropriateness, workload, communications guidelines, and if you think that the request is inappropriate, you can decline. And it gives you further down an entire letter for you to just simply copy and paste and send back to the hospital team. Yeah, there's just a quick outline of one of the things it might do.
So really easy, quick and simple. Like you say, you can copy and paste. And I guess if it's not perfect, you can always just edit it. And that, I know when I've used tools like this, the key thing is it may not be 100% perfect, but it's probably between 70 to 90% there. And then just editing is so much quicker than doing it from scratch.
Absolutely. I think it's probably worth pointing out with all AI tools is the actual drawbacks from using them, because sometimes they can hallucinate. Sometimes they can just make up information. So that's why you've got to be really careful in terms of the information it's giving, making sure that it does actually fit, and you have got some kind of a second check to make sure that it is doing all the right things.
Okay, so we replied to a consultant about a potential inappropriate request and stuff. What else can you do with it?
How about let's look at some policy things. So here we are. We've got some suggested questions along the bottom. Shall we have a look at a CQC policy? So if we click on here, it kind of guides you through what you might want to do. So this is a comprehensive CQC policy for your practice, and it just makes a quick suggestion. So aims and objectives, introduction, governance leadership. So it covers most of the key points for CQC. I won't scroll too fast. But say we want something a little bit more specific. So let's say we desperately need one for infection control. So we can do write me a CQC policy specifically on infection control. And, you know, the speed of it is quite impressive. And here you are, we now have a infection control policy. So you need to obviously read the document, introduce your practice name, and it'll go through and give you one looking at all the CQC documents which are out there, some of the suggested policies from the CQC, and it integrates it into a pretty decent policy for you to then adapt for your practice.
Hmm. Wow. Awesome. And like you say, absolutely for CQC, but I guess you could use this for any potential policy that you may have within the practice or from training perspectives or pretty much anything, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've spoken to several practice managers who are using it in actually really quite novel ways. Um, so for them, for example, I had a practice manager wanting to write to a member of their staff to tell them that they're getting a pay rise, which is great.
Hmm.
But they wanted AI to kind of help them draft it so that it takes them under 5 minutes rather than 10, 15 minutes. So if we just do an example of that, write me a letter telling a member of staff that they will be having, how much of a pay rise should we give them?
Let's go for 6% because that seems to be the fun number from last year.
A 6% pay rise. Um, so once again, hopefully it'll be rather quick. And here we have a template letter. And it's kind of written in a way which kind of is very official. It's appropriate. It uses all the normal kind of rules for writing letters about pay rises. And again, it's just a copy and paste job.
Okay. So we've done policies, we've done replies to consultants. Anything patient facing?
Yeah, so let's talk about maybe when we're doing the referral process. So I think at the moment we're getting quite a lot of rejections, perhaps. So it might be worth communicating that really effectively with patients. So how about something along the lines of, um, please write me a letter to send to the patient, to a patient, stating that their referral has been sadly rejected. However, we will provide the team with more information to see if they will accept. So, I mean, I'm not sure we will necessarily write a letter, but some of us will. But here we
Hmm.
are. So it's done a letter to send to the patient, and it's got all of those key points in it. But of course, at the end of a 13-hour shift, I'm not sure about you, but I'm not sure my letter writing skills are as on point. So this can kind of just give us a bit of a nudge. And so it's a nice little letter. But say we wanted to send it not just as a letter, but we instead wanted to send it as a text message. Please, can you change this to a text message? And so it knows what the letter is, and it will now convert it into a text message. And here we are.
Wow.
And so it's done that really quickly and again with not much thought. So yeah.
And from my knowledge of how AI platforms like this work, I'm pretty sure you should be able to have that translated as well if you wanted to. Am I right?
Yes, it can be translated, but not on my platform yet. That's on the
Okay.
roadmap, but at the
Okay.
moment that it's not quite there yet, but should be coming.
And I guess just as a kind of disclaimer, even if you were using other platforms and stuff for that, just remember you shouldn't ideally be doing that for medical language. For communication, it can work, but for actual
Yes,
medical terminology, you will still probably need to just have it double checked by somebody because although they're pretty accurate, they may not be perfectly accurate. And those are situations where you probably want it clearer and stuff. Um,
absolutely.
I know one thing that frustrates me that takes a lot of time, particularly getting started and stuff. And I'm wondering if you can help me fix that. Complaints.
Yes, complaints is something that I didn't realize it would be very good at, but I think it really shines and excels. So um, I think we all will experience complaints, and some of them are quite difficult to get your head round or formulate a good way of responding. And this tool can certainly help with that. So let's come up with a really spurious complaint, but responding to it in a constructive way. So let's make up a scenario. How about a patient has complained that there was not enough parking? How about that?
Hmm.
In the car park. The waiting room was too cold, and that the reception team did not smile enough. Um,
Okay.
So this I don't know about you, but this is the kind of thing that would be actually quite tricky for me to kind of formulate something which was
Hmm.
reasonable. Please, can you write a response to this to send to the patient? So there's a few factors in there, and let's see how it's done. So it's kind of got a nice introduction, saying we're valuing the feedback. There's a apology, and it kind of goes through actively looking for ways to improve the situation. We will
Hmm.
review our heating system. We're concerned that you felt our reception team did not provide a welcoming atmosphere. We strive to offer friendly and professional service. Your comments will be shared with the team. So it's not necessarily the actual response I would definitely send, but it
Hmm.
helps give me a structure to then think, right, well, this is what it's suggesting. Actually, in my practice, how would I respond, and how can I use this as a framework to responding? And again, and it's done that in 5 or 6 seconds.
Hmm. And I guess you could always ask it to adapt its response, couldn't you? To say if for example, if you wanted to have a more angry response, which I wouldn't
Yeah,
recommend doing,
yeah.
but absolutely, you can tailor things, can't you?
Well, shall we make it a bit angry? Can
Oh,
you make the response more angry? How's that?
so just to be
And
clear, we're not recommending you do this with your
no, no.
complaint, but
These are
obviously,
all test. This is
yeah,
just for fun, just to stretch it on the thing.
yeah,
Um, we've decided no, because this is a professional and empathetic service, um, but it's actually become a little bit more firm. So it's
hmm,
not been angry; it's firmer. Um, and let's see. Please, so here we are. Please be aware that space constraints can limit our options with regards to the car parking spaces. So it's
okay,
not we're actively looking. It's kind of saying that, but it's also saying, Um, it kind of goes through that, and I think it's worth kind of going through it. But say it's too angry, and we want a softer response.
hmm,
It can also do that, or it could also do things like, please also include that this is now the fifth complaint that they have raised, just because that might be something that's important to include.
hmm,
Um, and it should now include this. So we've noted that this is the fifth complaint you've raised with us. We take all complaints seriously. So again, it's just acknowledging it, adapting it, and hopefully, I mean, the aim of this is to make things that little bit easier. It's not
yeah,
necessarily to copy and paste and send out. It's just to give you that framework with having a little helper tool.
okay. And I guess, have you had any unusual uses? More specific kind of things, I guess.
I mean, certainly when I was first testing it with a few colleagues, there were some interesting responses, which it now doesn't do. But one of our colleagues was trying to ask it to find what ingredients they could buy in the supermarket to kill patients, which wasn't particularly helpful.
Okay,
Um,
yeah,
and so that's now been stopped. And also we have had a few patients trying to jump in and
hmm,
use the tool to see, well, is my GP right in doing X, Y, Z? And to be clear, this tool is not for clinical situations. This
hmm,
tool is to help health professionals support patients and interact with our colleagues in other spheres.
okay. And what's one of the more unusual things that you've used it for? I remember you telling me about medical students and stuff.
Yeah, so medical students and sixth form students. So it's been really good at kind of developing something, but in a very specific way. So the example, I think, yeah, the example was, if you have a sixth form student coming to shadow in your team, but you want to develop a confidentiality agreement. So again, very specific. Uh, Please, can you write a confidentiality agreement for a sixth form student who is going to be with us for a couple of weeks? And so that way, um, again, your team will be able to get something which you can then amend.
Hmm.
So here we are. Let's just scroll to the top. So here's a confidentiality agreement, and it goes through the purpose, the information, the obligations for the student, how long it will be for, any materials, law, acknowledgement. So again, something that's thrown up particularly quickly. But say we've done something like this and we've got this agreement. Maybe we also want to put it, because this is a sixth form student, maybe we want to put it in a more uh, easily kind of understood way. So we can also say, also convert this into a leaflet. So we have the policy, but we'll
Mhm.
also now have the leaflet behind it, so that the person who's coming will actually understand, yeah, this is the reason why they have to do this, and it's
Mhm.
actually clear for everyone, because we've taken a policy and converted it into a leaflet, so it's got all of the key points. So
Cool.
we just stroll through. Yeah.
So I think that's awesome. I have got a question though. So why would somebody use this over something, for example, like ChatGPT?
Yeah, so and as somebody who does use ChatGPT and a couple of the other AI products, I think the thing about this tool is it's available to all of your teams straight away without any of
Mhm.
those hurdles of getting an account, registering, making sure that any information that you're asking is based on UK information with all of the relevant guidance from NHS England and the BMA. You can absolutely do that on ChatGPT. And if I'm honest, if you do it on ChatGPT, you'll probably have a little bit more control and a little bit more fidelity. But the good thing about this site is that you literally just go to a website and you start typing in what you need to type in, and it'll give you the answer. So it takes a few seconds to get the answer back from this site. Yeah.
And I guess if you wanted my opinion, so the other benefit is to get some of those features that Ankit's shown on here, the more kind of refined stuff, you'd actually need to pay for ChatGPT.
Oh
Now,
yeah.
I
Sorry.
do
Yeah.
that. Yeah,
Mm,
I know a few other people do that because actually, not only do I use this for a variety of things, obviously I use it loads for EGP learning and stuff in terms of ChatGPT and things, but for those who don't want to pay, for those who just want to start off, don't want to have to code it, don't want to have to create their own custom GPT, which is effectively this is a form of a custom GPT, isn't it?
mm.
And for that you have to put effort into training and coding and stuff and things. It's just there, it's available, easy accessible, as Ankit mentioned, and more importantly, which I'm still boggled on, it's free. So one thing I am going to say to people who are watching this, if you are watching this thinking that absolutely I want to start using this, I'm going to say two things. Number one, just click on the link in the comments that will take you straight to it, because it's an easy way to get there. Alternatively, you can obviously go to the website ankitcan.com. Secondly, I am going to ask, if you are watching this and think this is absolutely bonkers amazing like I do, please support Ankit. Now, I think you've put something like a buy me a coffee kind of thing at the bottom
Yeah.
of the page, haven't you?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there we
There it
go.
is.
It's to donate to keep it free. There is significant cost that I know Ankit won't tell us about because I keep trying to ask him, and he's absorbing those costs for using it. So even though it's free for the user, just like general practice is free for the user, but there's still costs behind it, as we all know. Please, if you are using this, do support him. Send him a cup of coffee. You can do it that way. Send him more if you want. Absolutely, I know I am doing so, and absolutely support this amazing thing because I think it's bonkers amazing. And I think it's going to save clinicians, practice managers, everyone in general practice so much more time. And if you aren't using this, do and share it with people because it is so amazing. Which is why the moment I heard about it, I was like, first I had a play, a really good play. And then secondly, I just said to Ankit, I want to share this on the channel. And I hope that that's what people have seen. Any final thoughts, Ankit?
No. Thank you. Thank you for showing it. And yeah, I just want people to use it and save time. Yeah, absolutely.
And if you want to see other tools that may be helpful, because there is an explosion of some of this, then definitely check out the video that's coming here. Alternately, please log into ankit.com, go to ankit.com, give it a try, and we'll catch you next time as we tech enhance your primary care and learning.